want to point fingers at who was right, because war is shitty all around for everybody. And it really showed that all these characters in this movie were like, they weren't happy about the war. You know, they're all haunted by it. They didn't want to had experienced it. You know what I mean? And the movie was about humanity, about living and healing and moving forward. And I think they hit on that perfectly. Yeah. And it happened to be about a giant lizard monster also. Yeah,
and that's just a great way to tell a story. I mean, I love and I prefer that type of storytelling where you tell something real. You tell a real story, something real about the human condition. Yeah. But you just put a supernatural element in it, or a fantasy or a sci-fi element into it. But the whole point of your story, again, is to tell that human story.
Exactly.
You know?
This is Geek Off The Street, your go-to channel for all things from obscure geekdom to modern-day pop culture and everything else in between.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Hey.
Here we go. Here we go.
We're back.
Yeah, we are. One more again.
Yeah, as we always are.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, every week.
Yeah, exactly. Because as always, I'm Trent.
And I am Mark.
And this is
Geek Off The Street.
Greatest podcast of all time. Talk about geek culture.
Yes.
Pop culture.
Right.
Whatever else we want.
And deal with it.
This week is absolutely no exception.
Amen.
Because we're tackling the newest entry into the long-running franchise.
Yeah, 70 years?
Yeah. All from all across the globe. Well, really Japan and America, I guess.
Yeah, probably the biggest, but everywhere. But talking about Godzilla Minus One.
Yes, the newest entry in the Godzilla universe. It is essentially a remake of the very first Godzilla film from 1950. Shit. I should know this.
1950 shit.
From the 50s, 54, 57, it's somewhere in there. 54, I think, because we're about to hit the
70.
Yeah, so exactly. Yep. That makes sense.
Did the math.
But we're gonna get into that because it's pretty exciting. It just came out a couple days ago.
Yes.
As of this recording.
Right.
And I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
Before we do that, what are we drinking this week?
This is a Trent concoction.
It is.
Atomic lemonade?
Yes, that's what I'm calling it.
So fitting.
It's either the Godzilla, the Atomic Lemonade, or the Atomic Blast. I don't know.
Maybe Atomic Lemonade works very good.
Yeah.
We definitely can't call it Godzilla because it's just a little too blue.
Yeah. Maybe the ocean because he is in there.
Oh, okay. There's a way to spin it. There's a way to spin it.
But it's tasty because it has some citron vodka, blue curacao, peach schnapps, a little bit of lemonade, a little bit of Sprite.
Right, bam.
Yeah, super tasty, super delicious.
Very good. Very refreshing.
And I hope you guys make this one at home. Shout out to my trainer Dwayne. He said he's been making some of the drinks that we make
as you
on
should,
the show.
Dwayne. Good job.
And then he's like, oh wait a minute, you're coming up with some of those? I'm like, yeah, a lot of them we do come up with actually, which is right? Not too bad, right? Yeah. So
now you're impressed.
Yep. I'm gonna sip of that one, but let me top you off one more time, Mark, because you look like you're almost out.
I know, because I was like sipping.
You're like, wait a minute. Yeah, Mark I don't know if you guys seen any of our shows. Mark typically finishes his drink before the show even starts.
It's only because I'm thirsty, guys.
Yeah, it's not because he has a problem. Because I don't have a problem either. I just... Yeah. So let's not get into that.
Right.
But let's get into the show, though, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so as you guys know, I mean, if you guys don't know who Godzilla is...
come on.
Check yourself,
Come on.
Because, like, so if you guys are watching the YouTube video right now, the figure that we have as our centerpiece, this is my Godzilla toy from when I was, like, 5. And I love Godzilla.
So basically, it's 12 years old.
It's a couple years old. So yeah, no, it's a toy that I got from a family friend when I was a little kid, and I've had it since. So it's like I've had it for like 25, 28 years, give or take. And I love this toy because I love Godzilla. It's been a big part of like my life. Me and my mom share our love for Godzilla because my mom's from Japan. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe because it's a great connection.
I'm gonna go with the Japan connection, but yeah. So I was majorly excited because Godzilla's been. There've been a lot of years of Godzilla not being great. I think like the original Godzilla came out was a great commentary on post-war Japan's point of view of the war and World War II. Very devastating how it affected civilians and you didn't really see that side. And then some of the other movies. While I love the monster battle, the kaiju battle movies, which also became a big part of Godzilla's lore, those are great too.
Yeah,
I think the most impactful ones are the ones like the first one.
Yeah,
and
a lot of them got very, very campy.
Very campy.
Very campy.
They're like dancing and flying jump kicks and crazy stuff
and the
like
tail
that.
slide.
Tail slide, yeah, the famous tail slide.
Yeah, you jumped the shark on that one, guys.
yeah, and there. There's been a lot of those types of movies, and then America got some of the rights.
I think it's Kamikaze.
Maybe there's a kaiju monster. Kaiju monster out there right now. But so America got the rights for a little while, and since 2014, I think, or 2012. They've had movies coming out in their own MonsterVerse, and then Warner Brothers has been making them. And
then Matthew Broderick was in one.
He was in
1990 something.
Was it the 90s?
99, yeah.
Yeah, 99, yeah. That one was all right also.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
All right, it's my way of saying it wasn't very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're right.
But no, it wasn't very good. And really, the American, I don't know. No offense, but I think America can't get them right sometimes.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, they did the MonsterVerse ones recently, which ended in the most recent Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah, which was okay, but
I think a lot of people liked it. It was popular because it provided that action. I think it was an action movie.
Yeah, the big monster battles and stuff.
Right.
I mean, I liked King of Monsters, which was the second one in that trilogy. I think and that was pretty cool. I mean, you got to fight all the typical monsters, famous ones.
The one with King Ghidorah.
Yeah, and then
that wasn't too shabby.
Rodan, yeah. That one wasn't bad. It had some cool stuff in it. But anyway, point being, 2015 was this movie called Shin Godzilla, which is kind of a reboot, but more of a response to the Fukushima nuclear disaster. It was kind of a commentary on that, and it was really, really good. Yeah. And it brought Godzilla back to the threat, the threat of mankind, but also the ignorance of mankind as well. And that one was really, really good. And then now, fast forward to Godzilla Minus One. Yeah. We're resetting, maybe getting back to basics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. These Godzilla has always, well, I shouldn't say always, just because everything you said, but for the most part, it has always been a commentary about man and nature, man and society, definitely the whole man and nature and dealing with nature. That's always been kind of the point of it at its core, and it had fallen out of that for a long time, for years and years and years. And this one, it feels like it brought it right back to that again. This movie, Godzilla, was at one point I was kind of thinking like, okay, was Godzilla supposed to represent America with the destruction that he's causing post-war, that kind of thing, or maybe it was just a straight up comment about the destruction and the chaos and the anarchy that comes with war.
Right. Yeah.
So there were a couple different ways to think about it. I think the longer I watched the movie, the more I went into him representing, utter chaos as opposed to representing America causing destruction on our country. Because when he lets loose, man, he lets loose in this, and it's like, damn, okay, now I see why he's so scary. Now because you're able to see it up close, the way they do it, the way they shoot it, which is cool. They show him in the middle of the city, and you're almost there at the people's perspective, kind of watching all this go down. So,
man, I gotta say, man, I was terrified when he was chasing that tugboat. And and you just see his head above the water and his whole body chasing this little tugboat. Yeah. I felt like I was watching Jaws again, man. I was like, dude, this, and you see his eyes. Like I was like, dude, this is kind of focused. It's kind of scary, actually. Like if you saw that, I would never live again. Even if I made it out of that, I'd be done. Yeah.
I'm on shore. I made it. And death.
Yeah, dead. Yeah.
And the roll over.
Yeah. So they did a really good job of putting him up there as that threat. Like as this really like unavoidable,
right?
And how
that whole no reasoning with, trying to understand,
right? Yeah, there's
kind of thing. Let me make friends, like some little kid. Let me make friends with them.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. This is a force of nature or
right.
A
that
force
you're
of war.
helpless against.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And I think they did a great job with that.
Very good job.
But I guess let's get into the show then.
Yes.
Again, what we were saying, it's a remake of the first one, so it takes place right after World War II.
Right.
Japan is devastated from the war, from the loss of the war, and then as they are starting to rebuild, kinda.
Yeah.
Godzilla shows up. They don't really talk about where he came from in this one, but it's probably implied the nuclear war sure still has to do with where he came from.
Has something to do with it.
To do with it, yeah.
And the funny thing too is when he first makes his appearance, he's not huge.
Yeah.
He's not huge. When I first saw him, I was like,
this is the threat?
what is it? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was, I don't know, maybe he wasn't as big as a 2-story house. He was bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know, he might have been 50 feet tall, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not huge at all.
Yeah, still scary.
Still scary, right? Yeah, something like that
scary.
jumping on your shores. Like, yeah.
But then you see the fish die and pop it to the top of the
right. Yeah,
and it's like those are. I mean,
and it was a great discovery.
Yeah.
Technique. Like, oh, that's fish you don't see at at the surface. That's that's some deep sea.
Right.
Animals, and it's up here at the top, and they're all dead.
Yeah,
something has come up from the bottom.
Yeah,
and it's brought these things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I thought like, oh, this is like a radiation thing. There's radiation killing these fish at the bottom of the sea, and they're coming up, and that's an indication of where he's coming from, and or it's coming from. Yeah. But yeah. Otherwise, point being, he gets bigger, continues to get bigger.
Like. Every year.
Yeah, right. Seems to be exacerbated by human weapons. It seems to.
Yeah, because they do talk about America and they're testing atomic weapons in the. I can't remember the Bikini Atoll Islands. America was doing a boatload, no pun intended, of nuclear weapons testing out there. So they kind of imply. That might have had an impact on it too.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So because they have that little clip where they kind of cut away from and they show like Bikini Atoll.
That's right. Okay.
That's where they have that American or the English speaking part in there, and
that's right.
Yeah, it's a little clip, but they kind of imply that's what's going on.
That's
right?
Okay. Got it. Okay.
A consequence of all the nuclear atomic testing going on.
Yeah, man. He hasn't figured it out yet. This could be a real consequence to all this nuclear shit going on in the world. We'll have a giant lizard monster stomping around. But
I hope so. That'd be great.
Be a wake up call for sure. But yeah, so again, this movie came out 2 days ago as of this recording, at least here in America. And it's in theaters and it seems to be doing pretty well so far.
Right, all the way around.
And I can see why. Yeah. Because we'll get into some positives, I guess.
Yeah, do it, man.
Yeah, man, from beginning to end, I was hooked with this movie. I guess beginning to end for the most part. It caught a lot of. I mean, again, I was terrified in some areas because that helplessness to this threat, that's scary, man. That's a real scary thing, especially as a fragile meatbag human. You know what I mean? To realize that you're not top of the chain.
Right.
And the destruction that he causes, and it's pretty terrifying. And it did pretty well. And they did, I think they did like a $15 million budget or something. It was really not that big of a budget. And they did
$15 million?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
And it was fantastic with that budget.
Yeah.
And then I also.
Now that it makes sense. I mean, Godzilla was in it. But he wasn't in every scene or every other scene.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's good storytelling.
Right, yeah, exactly. There you go. The story was great. I thought the characters were great. The acting was great. Yeah. And I really felt for the struggle.
Yeah.
Of these people, but not only with Godzilla, but also from this post-war world, and it really showed the ugliness of it. This wasn't a pretty world, and this was the reality,
right?
At the time, and really getting into those aspects makes it more real. You know what I mean? And so I think they did a really good job of relating that the humanity of the story, humanity of this story, just using. A giant lizard monster.
Right, yeah. And I will agree with that. The thing that hooked me the most with the story was, and it was right from the beginning, where they showed this, the main character, there are going to be some spoilers here, everybody. So be prepared in 3, 2. All right, there's your curtain.
You were warned.
You were warned.
Yeah.
So with the main character, he was supposed to be this kamikaze pilot.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say he decided not to do it, but he, you can say he chickened out or whatever, but the bottom line is he didn't want to die. He didn't want to do that. So from that perspective, I was really interested in that, especially as an American.
Yeah.
Because we know what we've learned about Japan and about kamikaze pilots, and I don't know what they might be teaching in school about that now, or what kind of documentaries might have come out now about it. But I know when I was a kid growing up, we thought that they were just doing it. You know what I mean? It wasn't until later, like when I was probably like in my teens or maybe even 20s, that you find out like some of them, like they didn't have an option. Like they were like, kind of chained to the, to their plane. They didn't have an option to do anything else but to do that. And then a lot of them, you find out later, the plane was basically designed to do that. It really didn't have any sort of real, armament to it. It was, the whole point of it was to get in the air and to be a smart bomb, essentially.
It was literally, it was like a front end heavy plane. It wasn't meant to have like that defense or it wasn't for maneuverability.
Right.
It was literally just meant to be a heavy plane that hit this target.
Right. And Japan is such, and again, I don't want to go into cliches and everything, but I think everybody knows or has a feeling that Japan is a very honor-bound country, a very honor-prone country, that it means a lot to them. So when you have a pilot that was supposed to do this and he doesn't do it, then there's all this grief. There's all this, fingers being pointed at him. People judging him.
Challenging his character.
For not doing this. And the funny thing is, in the beginning of the movie, the one guy, because he goes to this island where the plane was supposed to be worked on, and they can't find anything wrong with the plane, strangely enough. And the main mechanic he knows what's going on. And he's like, hey, we couldn't find anything wrong with the plane. He's all, what are you implying? He's all, hey, man, I get it.
He walks up to him.
I get it. He was on his side. Like, the war's over.
So what's the point of dying for nothing?
For nothing. So he got it. And then the crazy thing is Godzilla shows up. And they're all terrified. And it's only just this one pilot and these mechanics, and they're like, okay, let's go shoot him. Let's go engage with him. Take him out. Do what we can. And the main mechanic tells the pilot, go hop in your plane, turn your guns on, and light him up. Nothing. If you shoot him, that'll kill him. It's big enough to kill him. And again, at this point, Godzilla, he was not that big. He might have been 40 to 50 feet tall. Maybe. And he doesn't do it. But the point is, that beginning part to me was very interesting because it really I really wanted to see where that was going to go. What happens with this character in this country that is all about doing the right thing? And he gets called on it too once he gets back home. Like his neighbor's like, you're a kamikaze pilot. Why are you here?
Why are you alive?
Like, you should be dead. And then he, she's pointing fingers at him, blaming all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, unrealistically blaming him for but there is a sense of tradition though.
Exactly.
Sense of honor in Japan where it's like, this is your duty. You do it.
Exactly.
For the honor of for the honor of your family, for the honor of the country. People always joke about that. Oh, honor for my family. But that's that's real, man. Like there is a real sense of honor, man. That that is overlooked. And commendable in a lot of ways, but
definitely
also blind, that blind commitment also is dangerous as well. And you feel for that too, because again, he wanted to live. He didn't want to die. You can call him a coward or whatever, but just didn't want to die. Maybe didn't believe in the cause, but he was scared to die is what it sounded like. And introducing that immediately in that first scene of who he is, and showing his character, makes you interested in what he wants to do. And getting into spoilers, but his arc from beginning to end, I think is incredible. Not only because of his redemption at the end, and his chance to make it right. I like that they added an additional layer, right? Because if you line it up logically, it should be kamikaze fighter supposed to sacrifice himself, for the cause. Doesn't do it. gets a second chance, sacrifices himself for the cause,
right?
You know, but for a different reason.
Yeah,
that's like line it up logically. That's how it should have gone. But then like to add the extra layer with the redemption of that mechanic that survived.
Yeah,
that was angry with him, wanted him, you know, want nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
but also says, "I want you to live. I'm showing you a way to survive this. So please survive somehow."
Yeah.
And there's an extra layer for him to redeem himself, to honor those fallen mechanics that were killed by Godzilla, but also live on as well. And it was like an extra layer. I was like, oh, dude, that's even better.
They all got it right. Yeah. And while the movie, once it got towards the end of the movie, throughout the movie they kind of kept saying, you know, vaguely that we need people to live, we need people to be here.
Yeah.
And they made it kind of seem like maybe doing the whole kamikaze thing was not a great idea.
Yeah.
Which again, as an American looking at this, I was surprised. So I was really curious about how Japan looked at this. Like, I do not know how Japan looks at World War II. You know, I don't know how Germany looks at World War II.
Yeah.
How they teach it in class and schools. And I've seen things, and I've you know, heard little documentary kind of things talking about it. So it's very interesting, and I was really curious about how the modern Japanese audience would take this kind of story. Like maybe now they all do believe that maybe being a kamikaze pilot wasn't a great thing to do. But the fact that they were doing all this, and then once it gets towards the end of the movie, and I'm thinking like, okay, he wants to just to get these demons off of his back. Yeah, the ghost he's being haunted by. He feels like he needs to be he needs to kamikaze
fulfill that.
Exactly. To fulfill that specifically.
Yeah,
it's not even about taking out Godzilla or whatever. He feels like he needs to do that. And they were kind of setting up, like I said, throughout the whole movie, like maybe being a kamikaze pilot wasn't so great. And then once the hero gets his moment, it's like, I'm going to go do this. And the mechanic's like, I'm going to help you. And I'm like, please don't tell me that they're going to do this whole thing about not wasting your life and throwing your life away. But then I should say, you know, not being a kamikaze pilot in one sense, but then they're going to have this guy be a kamikaze pilot. And I was like, I feel like you guys are telling two different stories, but I was waiting to see what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I thought that's where they were going with it, because he was so determined to do it. Yeah. The mechanic came in and helped him. Yeah. And then later on in the movie, you see like, okay, yeah, we took out the weapons, we took out the ammunition, we took out this.
Put a bomb in there.
You got a big old bomb in the the front of your plane.
Yeah.
Go do it. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah. You know, I mean, the movie was still good. Yeah. And on some levels, you're like, okay, that's how he needs to fulfill his destiny, or that's how what he thinks he needs to do. Right. Yeah. But it was such a great arc. It was this great redemption moment for, like you said, all these characters, that he did this thing and he didn't die. He bailed out of it. And then the mechanic that hated him was like, yeah. And he got it too. He was like, war sucks. Yeah. This is the ejection seat. This is what you do to get out of it. Yeah. And when they showed it later, sometimes that's like, oh, come on, guys, what are you doing? But again, it was redemption for that mechanic. It was redemption for all those guys involved with it. Right. Yeah. And it was a good surprise.
Yeah. It was very nice. And I think, you know, they could have justified it by being like, well, you were going to die for the wrong reasons. Now you're dying for actual honorable reasons. They could have done that.
That's why I was saying, like, I would have gotten it. Yeah. I would have gotten it. Right.
But I think they put the extra cherry on top where it was like, no, the point of this is to value life. Is to value life, to heal, to live, to move on. And it's very representative of the entire country that needed to heal, that needed to move on. And, you know, I don't want to point sides of who was wrong, who did this. When I was a kid and I was studying, I went to a freaking Christian school, and we talked about the World War II as always pointing fingers. It was like Japan was a non-Christian country. They wanted to dominate the world, and I was like, this. And I was like, I remember I showed that to my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, this is wrong. Don't listen to that." Yeah, he's like, "I mean, answer the questions on the test, right? Obviously, but
right,
like, no, that's not what it was like." And then
I went to a Catholic school. They didn't go that far.
Yeah, man. And then as I got old, and then even like I at one point I was like, "Oh yeah, the atomic bomb. Yeah, we need that to happen to save lives." And then like as I've gotten older and have done more research and studying, and I was like, "Man, that was more of like a big dick move." You know what I mean? Like we wanted to reason it. But you know, I don't want to get into politics. And I don't want to make decisions for people.
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I want to say something too. But I'm going to let that go too. I'll let it go too. Well, I'll let it go.
I don't want to point fingers at who was right, because war is shitty all around for everybody. And it really showed that all these characters in this movie were like they weren't happy about the war. You know, they're all haunted by it. They didn't want to had experienced it, you know what I mean? And the movie was about humanity, about living and healing and moving forward. And I think they hit on that perfectly. Yeah. And it happened to be about a giant lizard monster also.
Yeah, and that's just a great way to tell a story. I mean, I love and I prefer that type of storytelling where you tell something real, you tell a real story, something real about the human condition. Yeah. But you just put a supernatural element in it, or a fantasy or a sci-fi element into it. But the whole point of your story, again, is to tell that human story. Exactly. You know? And yeah, they did a great job with it. And Godzilla, like I said, later on in the movie, once you kind of realize that there's no real agenda with the story. Yeah. There's no real, it's not any sort of propaganda or whatever. That really made me realize that Godzilla, and again, this is me, kind of looking at the movie sideways to start with, thinking, because when Godzilla, he has a fantastic moment. He's got a lot of great moments, Godzilla. Yeah. You did big things.
Did good job, buddy.
You did big things. Yeah. Where he lets off his fire blast. Yeah. And you see it go off for the first time, and it just goes off into the distance, and it goes off like a fucking nuke. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's devastating. Holy shit. Yeah. Like, man, like everybody was just like, I mean, I'm talking about the audience. The audience was like, what? Yeah. It was fantastic. Yeah. So I was thinking like, okay, an atomic blast. Okay, this is, again, about America kind of thing.
God, but I love the spikes too, man. I was like,
yeah, no, they're all getting locked and loaded.
Faster. And then so I was like, dude, that was well done.
Yeah.
Very well done. Yeah. I was like, oh, shit's about to happen right now.
It's about to go down.
Yeah.
So like I said, it turned into like I said, there was no hidden message. Yeah. It was very obvious, everything. Yeah. But I don't think this was a comment about America. Yeah. Or even, not at all. Or even, for the people back then, a comment about America kind of thing. It was just, again, it's about what war represented and really what happened to Japan, about literally something that was completely unnatural happened in that country with the atomic bombs going off. So there was nothing like that had ever happened before, and they were the ones that experienced it.
Right. So, in the entire history of our existence.
Right.
That's to navigate that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, to tell that story like that.
Yeah, man. I listened to last podcast on the left. They talked about the Manhattan Project, and it is the most horrifying thing I have ever heard. Ever. It was horrible. The way that they talked about the war leading up to it, how it got built, but also the after effects of the dropping of the bombs. Man, it is the most horrifying thing ever to happen to people.
Oh, you mean like the people?
Yeah, the people there. Yeah, it's just it's
the radiation sickness and the
even
burns
the after.
It's bad. I remember I've seen stuff like that too.
Yeah.
The documentaries and whatnot, and they talked to people that survived it. And I remember one of them took off his shirt and showed his back, and it didn't look human. It didn't look natural. Like I don't understand how you're alive.
Yeah, right.
Looking like that. And this, I mean, he was an older guy. I don't know how old he was exactly, but the fact that he survived and was living like that, it made no kind of sense. But if I can, I'm going to dip into another positive, talking to that mechanic. That mechanic was, I'm glad that they brought him back.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a stretch, because the way they do it, like I know a mechanic's like, nah, you don't really, you know, you just know the mechanic that hates you. But I do like that he did get a chance to come back, and you know, you could see that he clearly felt a certain way. He felt bad, but towards the end of it, you know, you could like throughout the years, something must have happened to him. But there's a great moment where they're picked up at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And they survive the Godzilla attack. And he's hobbled. He's like on one leg limping over to the main character. And he's got something in his hand, like these folded up papers, and he stuffs it in his chest and tells him to take, you know, just pushes at him, doesn't say anything to him.
Yeah.
Just pushes it at him and then hobbles away again. And we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And we find out later in the movie that it's pictures and letters from all the people that the mechanic feels like the pilot let die because he didn't get in his plane and shoot Godzilla with his bigger weapons, bigger armament.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty powerful. I mean, especially like I said, once you find out later what it was, it was just, you know, letters and pictures of all the people that he feels he's responsible for.
Yeah.
And the main character, I keep calling him the main character because his name was like
Koichi, or his last name was
Shiki. That's true.
Koichi was first name. His last name was Shiki something.
I was gonna say Shikimaru, but that's not right. So
that's a Naruto.
Yeah,
guy,
that is a Naruto thing. So I know that. That's why I know it wasn't right. That's why I didn't want to say it. I know it's not Shikimaru.
I was just
something like that.
My mom the other day. I was leaving for work, I think, or leaving for something, and I was just like. I was like, oh, Mendokusai, which is like this is a pain. Like he always says that. He always says this, it's a pain. This is the pain in the butt.
Shikamaru.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, Shikamaru. But Koichi. Let's go with that.
Yeah, Koichi,
he was haunted by the fact that he feels like he didn't do his duty.
Yeah, let his country down, let those people down, and just continue to let people down.
Right. And then when he starts to get a moment of, can I be happy? Like there's a moment where, can I be happy? Can I get on with my life? And then I can't remember what it was. Like what happened to him? Like something happened to him that basically just knocked all that away again.
I think it was when Noriko, he thinks she dies, right? Was that after that?
I'm trying to think if because he thinks Noriko dies when he goes into the city to get her once Godzilla comes in to attack. There was something that happened. I can't remember. It's not.
Is there one other thing before that happens?
I think there was one other. I can't remember what it was though because it didn't feel like it was that. Like the big thing was Noriko. Was
it a dream or he starts to? He has a couple of dreams or like. Something happens when he tells her his war isn't over or something like that, you know. It's somewhere in there. I think he has some kind of breakdown somewhere in there. Yeah, and then when he thinks she dies,
right,
that's like the nail in the coffin.
Right.
It's like, I can't be happy.
And that was
because he has that like I was like maybe can I be happy? Maybe I can be happy. And then she dies, and then he's just like I can't be happy. Like,
right.
There's nothing.
I think he kind of realizes like I can't.
Yeah.
Because he feels like all the people that he let die, especially the ones on that island with Godzilla, he feels like he's constantly dreaming about them and just about this guilt he's got hanging over him all the time. Yeah, man, it's great because he's going on with his life, he's doing what he can, but he's still holding back. He's in so much anguish. Yeah, there's a woman and this child. They're not related. The woman basically kind of found the child and was taking care of it just because that's what you're supposed to do. And then they end up bumping into him and he ends up taking care of them. Yeah. And to the point where, and this is right after the war, to the point where, okay, now they're just living here. And he never is able to say that he loves her or he wants to marry her. Yeah. And even the child, who was an infant and who at this point is now like 3 years old, maybe 4. Yeah. Like she knows him as dad and she calls him daddy. There's this one crazy moment where she just whispers daddy and he turns, it's like, I've told you, Akiko, I'm not your father. And I'm like, what are you doing? How are you saying this right now? And then all the friends that are with him, they're looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing saying this to a kid right now? Are you crazy? Yeah. and nobody gets what he's going through. I mean, it wasn't right at all, but I mean, he refuses. It's not even he refuses. Like, he can't get close to anybody. He doesn't have a choice. He just can't do it. So the character is great, man. And I've read some things online where some people say they don't get it, or they can't relate to the characters or whatnot. I'm like, if you don't, you're dumb. You're really dumb.
Or you have no soul.
Either one.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can understand you not relating to war or maybe not relating to, military, whatever. I mean, I get that, but not to understand or appreciate the hell that this guy is in, that he can't shake this off of his back, and it's constantly haunting him. If you can't deal with that, that's nuts. Yeah, and it is crazy too when he goes to rescue Noriko, and it's like, dude, there's no way you're gonna find her. And then he finds her. And I'm like, all right, I don't know if you could have found her. But I appreciate it.
I appreciate that you did.
I appreciate that you did. I don't know, like Ginza, you're running into a city to find one person. I'm like, right. I don't know. A
lot of Japanese people in there too.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them like running around. It's a panic. It's almost like running in to find someone. I was going to, I don't want to necessarily compare it to 9/11 kind of thing, but in that kind of panic situation, running in to find one person, it's not as populated as New York is. So it's different. But finding someone like
now it is more, but
yeah. Well, I mean, okay, So just finding someone in that kind of situation is going to be tricky. I don't know, unless, I mean, you could be like, okay, well, she's got to take Main Street to get home, or she goes to work down Main Street, so I'm going to go down Main Street. Maybe you get lucky, whatever. But it was cool that he did find her. And then when Godzilla still, just goes full Godzilla, and she's gone, I'm like, geez,
like, come on, man, like, can this guy catch a break?
Right, right. And then,
can we catch a break? Because the audience, shit, man,
right? Because I don't want to see that happen to Noriko. She was a great character.
She was like the nicest person, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of great moments in it, and then when they do use Godzilla, another positive, when they do use Godzilla in this movie. When they show him, it's for a good reason. They don't just ham fist him in there. Just as I'm going to use one of your terms.
That's my favorite term.
Yeah, it's your favorite term.
Yeah,
they don't throw him in there just because. Well, people haven't seen Godzilla lately or enough, so let's put him in there.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe that's what some people might have been looking for. They want to see Godzilla roaming around, but I feel like the people that were in the theater when I was watching it, they appreciated the movie. There was applause at the end of the movie, which is dumb in my opinion.
Yeah, same in my movie. It was actually pretty full in my theater.
It was pretty
I went
full
on like Wednesday night, and it was like pretty packed, man.
Nice,
so I was like, but yeah, same. So I think people could understand what the movie was about for the most part. But yeah, any other positives you had?
Wow. Let's see. All the characters are great. One of the boy, or he wasn't really a boy, but
the one that wasn't at the war.
That wanted to go to war or wanted to, and that's kind of something a young person would say. Post the situation, or even I take that back. Even sometimes in the situation. When you look how excited people were about World War I, like there were a lot of young people like, oh, this is our chance to go and do something, courageous and fantastic, and it sucked. Of war. The glory of it, right? So as a young person, that's what he said, and then even Koichi kind of grabbed him up and like,
don't wish that.
Shut up.
Do not wish that. Yeah, whatever he says.
That character, he was in the. I was talking about these TV shows or movies that I was watching called the High and Low series.
Oh yeah,
he was one of the characters in the High and Low series.
He?
Yeah,
nice.
Okay.
I
was surprised I recognized him. At first, I was like, that guy looks familiar.
Okay.
But he was one of the gang leaders in the High and Low series. Yeah, so check out the High and Low series on Netflix.
If you
just want to see a bunch of young people, like they're in a manga kind of thing. Like, live action. Like I'm more powerful than you are. It's like, why? I just am. We look the same. We're about the same height, blah, 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 but my skills are greater than your skills. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's not the point. Yeah. Sure they are. No training? Okay, great.
Yeah. Even the boat captain was like, I liked his character too.
Yeah.
But he was that very, like, I don't know. I would say stereotypical like Japanese guy, but like just that stereotypical older Japanese guy.
Yeah.
That talks with the diaphragm.
Yeah. A little gravelly, very salty, heart of gold.
Heart
of gold.
Very much so, yeah.
But still also very, very realistic, very grounded, very I know what the world's about kind of thing. I've been around, you know, but it hasn't jaded him.
Yeah,
I guess is the cool thing, you know, because there's that great scene where he and the doctor are walking away after the meeting, and the kid, as he calls him, comes out and says, you know, we've been together. I want to go with you guys. And he's like, and they're just walking away from him. And I'm waiting for one of them to be like, let me go back or let me go say something, because he was with them. They were a team the whole time. And they're both just power walking away from him, and they're like, you know, and then he turns and says like, I leave the future to you. And I'm like, shit.
Damn. Right. They preserving his innocence as well. But you know, tough but selfless in a lot of ways, you know.
Right.
And that whole it was like certain doom really at this point, because everything they've thrown at Godzilla has been wiped out.
Yeah. And then they show like one of the cool things too is they show Godzilla healing after when he's coming at them and he's looking at them, they have minds because their job is they're minesweepers basically. So he's coming at him, and they're able to get a mine in his mouth as he's coming at him. And Koichi shoots it because he's got experience. Blows it up, and Godzilla stops. So I'm like,
oh, they got him.
Holy shit. I mean, I'm like, I can't argue. A mine went off in your mouth.
Blew his jaw off. His face is gone.
He was gone. And then they're looking at him, and he is fucking healing like he is like
just like I was like, oh damn,
it's just
this
bubbling and healing like
I was like, well,
crap,
this sucks. Because I was like, okay, well, now what are you guys gonna do, man? Like, what can you do against that? You know, there's nothing.
There's nothing you can do, right? Because I mean, what more can you do than throwing like a mine at him kind of thing? You don't have access to anything else. So it's when that went down, I was like, man, damn, you guys are
fucked, man. You
guys are in a bad way.
You guys are in trouble now, man. Because that little tiny moment of victory, and then it's just like gone.
Not even a minute. Not even a minute to celebrate it. Like 30 seconds, and he's already and Godzilla's just sitting there like,
yeah, I'm coming back. God, man, man, I just cannot get the image of him up against that tugboat, man. But just his eyes are just above the water, and he's like, oh, I was like, dude, that's scary, man. I don't want to. I
liked it when they showed, like when they're showing his spikes coming out of the water, like the whole shark fin thing. And then when he kind of turns to go after him, I'm like,
because like he tears up the
other, like they're like twin boats.
The other tugboat,
something it's begin with the Y Yoshi something. He goes after the other. He destroyed the other boat.
And he's like, okay, well, we're getting away. And we thought he was just gonna keep one straight, but
it
does that little
then
turn.
He does that turn.
Like,
and he's like,
no.
I see you
outrunning that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, and like, I don't know, man. I'm not scared of the water, but the open ocean, man. I don't know, man.
These guys, they really didn't have any other options. Like overall, Japan at that point, like they didn't have any sort of military anymore.
Everything was decommissioned.
And they bring that up in the movie too. Like we don't have an army or a navy to go out here and try to engage this thing. And they do send a ship to go out there. Well, it's not even the Japanese Navy. I don't know where the ship came from. I don't remember.
It's like a decommissioned warship that that America allowed them to keep for this situation. I guess.
Because they kind of find out of the situation. They're like, oh, okay, well, go ahead and do something. To get this
use
thing.
That ship that we were gonna take.
Right, and this ship like just opens up on Godzilla.
A warship,
and I'm
man.
Like, holy crap, Godzilla's taking some hits. And then Godzilla like comes out of the water and jumps on the thing and starts staring. It's like, holy crap, Godzilla, give us a break, man.
Because he jumps on it, shakes it around a little bit, and then they hit him and he goes back down. I was like, okay. And then the blast comes up.
Like the bottom.
Destroy. I was like, oh my gosh. That devastating. I was like, the destruction, man.
He does the blast from the bottom.
From
He's
the
like,
bottom,
you know what, that hurt a little bit.
So
I got a strategy. Let me try this. Let me
show you what hurts. That's wild, man. Really kind of reminded me of some of those older monster movies, or like Jaws specifically was one for me. And just that terror of that, man. It was great. I thought it was amazing how they did that. Yeah.
And it's a great thing to do. Yeah, just show those quote unquote dorsal fins coming at you.
Shit, man.
Yeah, your time's up.
Yeah.
But again, the characters are great in it. All the characters are really good in it. They all kind of they all have moments of, I don't want to say greatness necessarily, but they have moments where they really show the strength of humanity.
Yeah.
The neighbor that hated them towards the end of it, or even not even towards the end, but throughout it. I think she mellows out and she accepts him a little bit. She helps take care of the child when she needs to be taken care of. You can tell she doesn't like whatever animosity that she had for him at the end of the war. When, obviously when tensions were much higher, I think she mellowed out and she didn't feel that way about him. She even, when she gets that letter, and she runs to get it to him, which was fantastic. I like the doctor character. I like that they showed this doctor, or a scientist essentially, came up with this plan to deal with Godzilla just using knowledge and science, and it was really pretty solid. It was just the fact of the whole, I want to say decompression, but I guess it was decompression. Just drop them to the ocean hyper fast and then bring them up hyper fast. I mean, that's going to destroy you. Dropping that fast is going to like tear you up. And then coming back up, you're going to, they gave him like the super bends. Essentially.
Basically.
And then it was great when you see the effect it has on him. You know what I mean? It's like,
I like when he stops at the bottom, he just kind of like constricts real quick. I was like, oh wow, okay, maybe it worked a little bit. I mean, it sucks.
Right. I know it sucks.
Must not feel good.
You don't want that to happen to Godzilla, but
it must not feel good.
But, and the funny thing is, like, Godzilla is not Godzilla in this. Like like we said at the beginning of the show, he represents something. He just represents. Like I said, chaos, anarchy, destruction, panic, fear. He is just a manifestation of that. He's not some rational thinking thing. He's just a means of destruction. And that was
it was great. I mean, and I do like seeing him as the Guardian. I love him fighting other monsters. And that's always cool too. That's
exactly,
always him like on the good side. Obviously, that's cool too. But that's not what he was really originally intended to be.
This gets back to the roots.
And it's also great seeing him in this light as well. Just as this kind of mindless monster. Really.
Because because the most important thing in any movie, TV show, blah, 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 is the story. You have to be true to the story. The story is the most important thing, not any of the characters in it. It's the story is the most important thing, right? So even if Godzilla is essentially, I don't even want to call him a villain necessarily, but he is turned into a villain because I don't know. I mean, do you call a hurricane a villain? And he essentially, he's a force of nature. That's what he was there to be. That's what he represented. So I don't even know if it's fair to even call him a villain.
It's not because it's not like he had any motivations or intentions. It was just instinct. That was just what he was a predator. You know what I mean?
He was just just a thing. The same way, like I said, the same way a hurricane is just a thing. The same way an earthquake is a thing. If a volcano goes off, it is a thing. There's no malice there, and that's what he represented, which makes the story that much better. It makes it really great.
Really, but like you were saying, it represents just something to overcome as a group, as humanity, to resolve of humanity. And they did that really
and they
well.
did. And it was like the normal people that did it. It was, just it wasn't like the military or a bunch of scientists in a lab doing something. It's just the doctor with his idea. You had a captain or whatever that was like rallying the people, and and that's it was great. It was great.
That was a great moment because he's like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but what else can we do? And then the captain was like, well, you aren't soldiers. The war is over. You're not military. You can leave if you want. We can't tell you to do anything. But we're asking you to come together to see if we can save Japan.
Save it. Exactly.
And that was a great moment. I was like, I'll go. I'll go.
I'm with you. I'm inspired, man.
I'm
inspired. I'll be here. I don't live here, but I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And there was no propaganda behind this. A lot of times, you see it with certain, maybe not with all, but with certain ones, especially when sometimes you see a lot of propaganda.
Yeah.
In a lot of films. Well, I don't want to point at any group in particular, but you see that sometimes in films, and there was no propaganda. There was no Japan is great because Japan is great. It was the people have to come together. That was the story they were telling. It wasn't anything anti-anybody.
Yeah.
Once everything said and done, there was nothing really anti-anybody in this, or anti-any group in this movie. It was just about the normal people, the citizens of Japan, or of this, this particular part of Japan coming together to take care of this thing. So you got any negatives?
I had two that were sort of negatives. Maybe I call them nitpicks. Yeah. And I know that they did a lot in the original one, but like everyone just accepted Godzilla as a reality immediately. Like even when when he first shows up on that first island. Yeah. One of the mechanics is like, "Oh my gosh, it's Godzilla!" Right. The Legend of the Sea, the lizard monster, and I was like, "Is that a thing already?" Yeah, like everybody already knows about what this thing is. Yeah. So and then when Koichi goes back to the world and he tells Noriko about Godzilla, there's no like
what the fuck are you talking
about? A giant prehistoric monster? Like this is the real world.
Like,
guy.
Are you sure that's what you
sure?
saw?
Exactly. You sure? There's nobody questions anything about Godzilla being a reality. So I thought it just went like that, and it happens in the original one. Like this is how it is. Like the old man's like, it must be Godzilla, and then his granddaughter's like, oh, grandpa's still telling stories about Godzilla, and then it ends up being real. But it's like it's so matter of fact. It's like Godzilla's a thing. We already know about it. Here he is. I'm telling everybody about it. Everybody believes me. Yeah. Or not necessarily believes me, but it doesn't seem like nobody questions it. Right. So nobody questions or tries to understand this supernatural force in this world. And I thought it was going to be different with a modern day remake, but it's still kind of the same. It's just like this accepted thing that everybody already kind of knows. Some people kind of already know about, and it's here.
Right. I'm gonna counter half of that with Noriko saying. Like she was just basically, and she basically starts to kind of comfort Koichi after he tells this crazy story about we saw this monster. I was out at boat with my friends and we saw this monster, and she's trying to comfort him. Like she's saying you can open up to me. I want to help you shoulder the burden kind of thing. I don't know if that's the exact same moment, but she says that at some point. Okay, and he starts to tell her about whatever going down. And so I agree. Like there should have been, and maybe it was just a moment. Like, okay, he's crazy. Let me calm him down. Or I told him to open up to me. He said something out of the world. Let me not call him on his bullshit. Let me do whatever.
Yeah, because it's like the second time he's had a major breakdown in front of her, I think. Yeah. Maybe second.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he has a dream the first time.
Oh, that's true.
Breaks down in front of her. He gets kind of like crazy.
Yeah. He got a little crazy.
Maybe I'm not alive.
Maybe you're a dream.
Yeah.
It's like, calm down, bud.
Yeah, relax, man. And this is like the second time I think he has a major breakdown in front of her. And I understand. Maybe she's just trying to respond.
Well, tactfully. No, but I agree though. It didn't make sense. Like even if you are trying to do it, and even if that was the truth, then like she should have been like, oh, he's really lost it. You know what I mean? Or he was worse than I thought. There should have been some sort of comment to be like, okay, I'm not accepting this at face value. Yeah. So I agree with that assessment. Like there should have been more like, what? Or even like when she walked away, it should have been like, what's he talking about? My counterpoint for the first part would be when one of the mechanics says he thinks it's Godzilla. That I was okay with it because there were like maybe half a dozen mechanics and only one of them says something about it. And he says it because he heard something about that from the villages or the village that they were on. They were on. So my thinking was that was not the birth of Godzilla. Godzilla had, like the Loch Ness Monster kind of thing. Maybe poked his head up every once in a while. Maybe came ashore every once in a while. But it wasn't new. So, I mean, they could have done that. They 100% could have done, like, what the hell is that thing? Yeah. I don't know what it is or whatever, but maybe that's how they kind of put the name in.
Yeah,
because he's already got a name.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably the case. But I just I think it's I mean it happens within the first few minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
and it's like, and I mean even then Godzilla shows up in the first few minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, that must be Godzilla. Like, really? Like that quick? Like you already know what it is. Like I think it would have been better for them to not know what it is. Like the mystery.
I hear it.
Of it, you know,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, how long has it been around at this point now?
Right.
For them to have given it a name and for it to have been causing havoc in some way in certain areas. And obviously this is an isolated situation, so we don't know how many people. Maybe nobody on mainland Japan knows about Godzilla.
Yeah,
which could be the case. Yeah. But yeah, it just seemed like it was a little bit too. Like, okay, yeah.
It just...
There's a thing.
A big moment got introduced and just kind of got brushed over a little bit, so to speak.
There's that, and this was, I wouldn't really call it a negative, more of a nitpick.
Yeah.
And I love the story, and I even do like how it ends. It's a nice ending. It's a happy ending. It's great that Noriko's still alive, and then it's just like extra cherry on top.
Yeah,
he gets a chance to live. He gets a chance to live with her. It's all around. You get second chances, and you get to fix all of or have a chance at all of these second chances, basically. Yeah. And that's great. It ended nicely. It's a beautiful ending. I liked it. I was happy. You know.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it was too perfect as it got towards the end. It was like, okay, he crashes the thing, but he survives. And then he kills Godzilla with a bomb in his mouth. Cool. You won. Right. You saved everybody and you're alive. And then Noriko's also alive. Right. So you get a second chance.
Yeah.
So everything that you lost, you get back.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't seem very realistic to me.
Right.
It's too perfect.
Yeah.
So I was questioning that a little bit, but I was also caught up in the moment because it was done really well.
Sure.
Shot really well, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of happy. I'm happy that the happy.
Yeah.
ending,
I was the same way, and that is 100% my big complaint. That's my negative about the movie. That was too much of a happy ending. You know, he got his redemption. I think at that point in time we'd all come to terms with the unfortunate reality that Noriko was dead. Yeah. You know, that she was gone. And it made sense because she got it was like the vacuum of a nuclear bomb going off. You see the push and then you see the pull.
Yeah.
And that happened to her. So it makes sense that she would not have survived that. Right. I get it. Unfortunate as heck because I think she's a likable character. But again, that was my big thing is that it was too much of a cherry on top kind of thing. He had his moment of redemption where he flew the plane, he took out the enemy. And that made me kind of think maybe that is an America thing too. You defeated the enemy, you know what I mean? Or you fought the enemy and we won. You know, so I'm not gonna pursue that. I'm gonna let that go. But I guess I got a chip on my shoulder or something.
Yeah.
But that was a lot. I don't think we needed that because it didn't feel very realistic. It felt very 1930s Hollywood happy ending kind of movie.
Happy perfect ending,
happy perfect ending. And it would have been I mean it would not have been great. It would have been good if he I just wanted to hear him call, the girl his daughter. Yeah. I wanted to hear her call him dad and him not reject her. Yeah. That's what I kept waiting for, and they never did that. Yeah. But that would have been great if that had happened. And she calls him dad and he picks her up and he's like, yes, or whatever. I'm here. Yeah. Or something.
Now my war's over.
Yeah,
I can be your dad, and I have a chance to grow me better, even though Noriko's gone, because she showed me how to be a good person.
Yeah,
and
that would have been gold.
Yeah, it would have been fine. That would have been a much not quite as happy, but still better. Right. More honest for the human.
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah, for the world they were in and what was going on, that would have fit better. Would have made more sense. This was just way too cartoonish.
Yeah, a little extra. Yeah.
And then as soon as the guy brings the telegram, I'm like, geez, they're gonna do it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then she goes running, she gets him like, oh, they're gonna do it. And he goes running after her, I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it. Yeah. And then you see her, and I already knew that she was gonna be in the hospital. Yeah. I already knew she was gonna have a bandage across her eye. I knew this. I am not kidding. Did you know that when you saw her that she's gonna have like a bandage across her eye? Did you feel that or not? You didn't think about it?
No. I think she's gonna be in a hospital bed for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you pictured it?
I knew.
Yeah.
I knew. I am not kidding. That when he saw her, that she's gonna have like her head bandage up with the thing across her eye, just to get the point across of how hurt she was.
Yeah.
How come she didn't get in contact with him sooner? How come she's been laid up or whatever? And technically, it hadn't been that long, really. But and that's always I always feel like whenever I see like, you know, anything, you know, Japanese movie, anime related kind of thing. Yeah. That's always the thing. Like if someone's hurt a little bit, they have like that bandage. They have like that bandage with that taped on bandage on their cheek. Yeah. It's always on the cheek. And then if it's really bad, they'll have the whole thing across the face. Man, I completely saw that coming. I knew they were going to do that, and sure enough, they did. So.
Yeah, they must have known what you wanted as the ending and then did the opposite because like when he gets there and sees her, he puts the kid down and she's out of the shot.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, the kid doesn't even get to say hi to her mom. Like he just sits her down and then it just goes to him and her. I was like, the kid's like in the background now. Doesn't
I was like, that kid was, and that was a great moment too, where they're talking about the mom and the kid starts crying.
Yeah.
Like that was great. I don't know what they did to that little kid.
How did they get that kid, man? Yeah, that kid.
Yeah, a couple times. A couple times they did something. I don't know, poked her. They did something. They did a great cut scene, great editing.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
And she was always drawing like, oh, is this a picture? It's like, you know, a picture of, you know, the three of them, you know, together. It's like some little crazy kid picture. And I'm like, I mean, it makes sense to her. That's her family. That's her mom and dad. So, so that was a negative for me. The other negatives I think I might have are nitpicks. I feel like at the beginning, towards the beginning, when he's lining up, when he's in the plane and when they first encounter Godzilla, he's got the sights on him. I feel like the sights were lit up. Like, I don't know if the sights lit up on a Japanese Zero. I feel like it was very you just used the iron sight, so to speak. It was very manual. It was very you lined it up and you did that. I don't think there was any light up, heads up display. I don't know anything about, you know, the Japanese planes, the Zeros or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, nitpick.
I mean, Japanese people are pretty advanced, man.
Very advanced. I was going to say something, let it go. Great. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they had the electronic heads up display kind of thing. The other part was when the kid shows up with the other guys that kind of walked away, and then they kind of came back with the tugboats later. Like, that was a little cheesy. Yeah. That was very like 2000 Hollywood kind of thing. Like, oh, we're not going to do it. We're here. We changed our mind. Did you see that coming? Did you? Surprise! Yeah. But it didn't feel that way, which is good. It didn't really feel that way.
Yeah.
It felt genuine because everybody wanted to help, but they were like, I'm a little nervous about helping, so they kind of backed off. But when he showed up, and then they all get lines on Godzilla or on the other boats the ships, to pull.
How long would that have taken?
Exactly. How long would that have taken? That
it was probably
shit like that is not quick.
6 or 8 like boats per boat, right?
Exactly, per boat. I was gonna say there were more than 6 or 8.
I mean, just to get yourself close enough,
right?
Get the line up there, and the next guy's gotta come in,
and you gotta not crash.
It's not like a car, man. You can't like just turn it and back it in and parallel park it.
Right. There were a lot of that
happened so quick, and I was like, Godzilla is already.
He's healed by now.
Yeah, he's back. He's got to be back at this point.
Right, and he's already doing the napalm.
Yeah,
the nuclear blast. So that, like I said, it's more of a nitpick.
Yeah.
So there were like maybe a couple little nitpicks here and there, but overall though,
I see what they were doing with that scene. But just as grounded as a lot of the movie was, that was one of those kind of very hokey. Not as hokey, like I think. I mean, I was gonna go with like the Amazing Spider-Man, where like I think I used it already, but with the construction poles lined up.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, they're all chipping in.
Perfectly for you. Yeah,
they knew what he needed.
Yeah, I can't swing across the buildings because they're too far apart.
Help me out here, guys.
Come on, man. It's never been a problem for Spider-Man.
Have you played the new Spider-Man movie or Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2?
Not yet, no.
They have the wingsuit kind of thing, or they should have like the webbing that's underneath their arms.
Yeah,
which. That's like originally that's what Spider-Man has, like, you know, to help him jump, not help him jump, but to assist with him jumping, landing, blah, blah, blah. They never show it that much, but sometimes.
I remember that,
Yeah. And I guess they dialed this up to like effing 20 because he's like flying.
Okay.
Spider-Man is like flying.
Yeah.
In this new game,
Really?
I'm like, man, you guys are taking this kind of far. But I mean, I'm not tripping about it. I mean, otherwise you're going to be wasting how much time having him swing across.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. It's not important. And that's not the point, guys. Stay focused.
Yeah. Anything else to say about the negatives?
Yeah. Negatives, not really. There's, maybe a couple little nitpicks here and there. There might be some, and there's not a lot actually, which is surprising. There might be some cultural differences that people, you might not pick up on, or it might take you, I shouldn't say you won't pick up on it. It just might take you a second to be like, what happened? Okay, I get it. But there's not that many. It's actually a very easy watch.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
So how you feeling on a rating then?
Rating, as far as I would say, drop your doing and watch this movie.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a movie to watch, this is probably the best movie going to a movie theater and watching a movie experience I have had in a long time, probably since the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. Yeah, this feels
and very different from the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
But this was a movie. This was like, holy shit, this was a movie that was done right.
Yeah, and this felt like it felt like it had a lot of like elements of a blockbuster. This felt like a big action event that you go to a movie for, but it had a lot of other great things about it that weren't typical of a Hollywood blockbuster, And I think it hit all the right things.
Right.
I'm 100% drop what you're doing as well. So for Rotten Tomatoes as of now, this thing at 97% critics, 98% audience.
Yeah, fantastic
across
rating.
the board. Yeah,
I agree.
And I think I've been seeing lots about ratings. Oh, Henry, he posted about it the other day. He said he saw it. He said it was perfect. He loved it.
That's cool.
He's like, this is the way you reboot Godzilla.
Nice.
I was like,
nice.
I agree. I think I'm dropped what you're doing and see it as well. But man, I think for me, just with how much fun I had with this movie, I probably can never say it's a perfect movie, but man, it's a great movie for for it's not summertime, but summer blockbuster event type thing,
right?
But also to see a good story with good characters about a good subject, I think,
and a great character that people like. Godzilla.
Exactly, So I'm probably sitting at like a. Man, I might give it a 92, 91, 92, something like that. I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. And the whole time through, I was really enjoying it. When I left, I was like, man, I feel good.
I might give this maybe like a 95 kind of thing. Like I said, the things that aren't good about it I'm not even going to say that are not good about it. The things that you kind of point out like, oh, that seems a little far-fetched, or that seems like that wouldn't have happened. Like Godzilla kept getting things in his mouth that blow up. Like Godzilla, like, close your mouth, guy.
Close your mouth, man.
Close your mouth and do something. I don't know. Spit it out.
Work on those motor functions, man.
Yeah, right. You got something in your mouth. You don't leave it in your mouth.
Yeah.
But that being said, those are so minor of things. The biggest the biggest negative for me again was how almost cartoonishly happy the ending was. That they went that far. But other than that, though. Every single part of this movie is really good. So I'm gonna lowball it. I'm gonna give it like a 95.
Okay,
So again, 95%. Drop what you're doing. This is a fantastic.
Go watch
movie.
this movie because it is great, man. Yeah, it's fantastic. Cool. So we're talking Godzilla then.
That's it, baby.
Yeah. So what are we into this week then?
What are we into this week? Ooh, what have I been watching?
Man, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know either.
Holy crap! I know I had something I was gonna say.
Yeah, I sat down and played a little bit more Miles Morales. I got maybe an hour of play into it. It's great, man. It's really fun. It's really cool, and you can see the upgrades from the first Spider-Man to the Miles Morales game. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to check out Spider-Man 2 now. But it's a fun game, man. And they're really getting Miles' character right. His power set is awesome. It's really fun, man. I don't play a lot of games anymore since I don't have the time. But when I get a chance to sit down and get a few hours in, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's always nice. That's cool.
It's nice to sit back and not have to worry about anything but fighting bad guys.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to think what I have been watching. Maybe I have. That's disappointing. Could have sworn I watched something. Did I mention? No, I did. I was trying to think. All right, I got nothing, everybody. I got nothing. But it's going to be my goddaughter Lila's birthday tomorrow. As of this recording, by the time you hear this, it would have already happened. So, Lila, if you hear this one day in the future, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Love you.
Cool. I guess that's going to be it then.
That's it. That's it. Any shout outs or?
Oh man, I guess we didn't do shout outs.
You want to give a quick shout out to Henry on the Geek Speak show. We went over and hung out with him on Sunday. Yeah. That's something I did. Or we did.
We got to do an episode with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half-hour episode turned into 6 hours.
Yeah.
We were there all day.
We were there all day. The episode was literally like 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, we were there for
the whole day.
Yeah, for literally the whole day. Thank God his wife cooked for us. Thank you.
Yeah, Michelle
I was
great.
knocking on heaven's door. So
yeah. Yeah. Mark does this thing where he doesn't eat ever.
Mark does not know why he does
days.
that either. Yeah. A couple times.
Yeah. And we hung out with Henry. The show, I didn't put in the show. I'll put in the show notes this week. So you guys can check it out. But the episode was pretty fun. We had a lot of good.
Yeah, we were talking about Marvel and everything.
Yeah, it was great. Shout out to, let's see, Star Trek Gone. Thanks for following us. Stuff and Things Pod. It's a podcast about stuff and things. Yeah. Two brothers unintelligently discuss random topics each episode. Sounds great to me. Yeah, basically, yeah. Thanks for following us, guys. Silent F82. That's actually Daniel. He's the guy who sold me the car. My Prius. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
nice.
thanks for following us, man. And he has freaking 70,000 subscribers on 70,000. Yeah, so I'm like, thanks for following us, man. Appreciate it.
Good job.
And he was like asking me tips. He's like, hey, man, you have any tips about, social media? And I was like, let me help you out. And then I look at his social media and it's like, I was like, why are you asking me for help,
Tapping
dude?
him in the face. You're all right. You'll be all right, kid.
Yeah. So, and then Crossroads that's the guy who did the other part of the episode with Henry.
Okay.
He followed us as well. So thanks for following us, man.
Very cool.
And yeah, basically, thanks for checking us out, man. We, speaking of which, I checked out our stats for the year, our Spotify stats for the year. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in our top. We were the top 10 in 59 people's sections, awesome. And then we were the top 5. We were in 47. And then the top podcast in 16 people's podcast circulation. So
sweet.
16 people listen to us the most all year. I don't know who you people are. I know I'm probably one of them. No, Godzilla Street is number 3 in my top. So yeah.
So
you I wasn't even one of them. Yeah, no, you listen to our podcast more, I guess.
Danny.
Danny's probably one of them. But so that memeans there are 15 other people that we were the most listened to podcast in
man, we appreciate that. We appreciate
thank you guys so much, man. I know, it doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, but that's huge for us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Anyway, just want to get that out there. Appreciate you guys.
Right on.
Anything else?
That's it, baby.
That's it, man. We did it. It talked about Godzilla. Check out Godzilla Minus One. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know if we're crazy or if it really was that awesome. Because it was. I had a great time.
Yeah. If you are looking for a movie to go see, this is the one you should definitely watch.
Yeah, most definitely. Who knows how long it's gonna be in theaters? It's an international film. So
right.
We'll see. But so get out there and check it out now. But yeah. Anyways, I guess that's it. Huh?
That's it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, my name's Trent.
And my name is Mark.
And this has been
Geek Off the Street.
All right.